I wonder if you could maybe go into more detail about how you represented the kind of like contemporary and traditional styles of work coming across in the artwork itself.
Well, I think my work has always had a lot of colour in it, and I think I've always liked to experiment with how you can take maybe a more traditional or a more simplified image or a realistic image and just completely alter the atmosphere and the kind of energy of a place by adapting the colour work. I suppose it links the same with the music itself, looking at traditional Scottish music and the kind of resurgence it's having now. Like being from Glasgow and going to a lot of trad gigs now, they're more electronic trad, you know what I mean? Like there's been kind of a shift to the way that you enjoy that music. It's quite fun to be able to experiment with my style, which is definitely a more like contemporary, colourful style. But I think it does just come down to playing about with colour and playing about with like mark making and textures and stuff. It's kind of a unwritten style at the minute, I feel like, for Scottish contemporary trad. So there's a lot of room to experiment, which is great inspiration for sure.
Yeah, the way you're saying it makes me realise that kind of idea of contemporary trad is a kind of ethos that you can bring into so much more than just, you know, merging a fiddle tune with like a drum beat and a bass line.
Yeah, exactly.
In the Tallest Tower artwork, I just love the way that you kind of made that human presence and connection felt in the image. I wonder if you might be able to explain your process of bringing that human feeling into this kind of like nighttime landscape.
Yeah, I always kind of, whenever I write my job title, I never usually say illustrator, I usually say visual storyteller, because I feel like it kind of encompasses a bit more how I work in my practice, because with that image there's a couple little lights that are on in the home attached to the lighthouse, and I feel like you just end up, well I do anyway, completely developing a story about the people that live here, especially when it comes to the animation as well, and things are slightly shifted and stuff. You just get this feeling of flow, and I think it's important with a landscape like that. You don't want it to look deserted, you don't want it to look almost like a relic or a historic landmark. Instead, it is just part of the culture and part of a reference to Scotland.
The movement of that one and the kind of lighthouse, I know it's Tallest Tower, and even without that part of it just all works so well.
It really fit the song, the name. I feel like it needed that space, and you have like a lighthouse that isn't really that massive on the actual cover itself. It's more that light and that motion, I think, that really makes it. That seems to link more to the song for me. It was just really nice to have an opportunity to work on a commission that was really influenced by Scottish culture. It's a big part of my practice now. I think at first I was a bit more hesitant to almost narrow down my focuses as much onto traditional Scottish heritage or folklore or things, but now it's such a consistent part of my practice, and I love being able to take time out of my like working week purely to focus on Scottish things and celebrate our culture, and to have the opportunity to work with someone else who's also celebrating that was a really nice opportunity. That was my main takeaway from it. It was lovely to feel like we did something that kind of sums up contemporary Scottishness in one way or another.